Welcome to Spirit Baby Radio. I am your host, Kelly Meehan, a citizen of the universe, a passage keeper, and mentor for our new Earth children. I believe we are entering into a new psychic structure of our reality, and it is meant to embody deeper trust and ways into solid self-love and fearless integrity. Our new world energy of spirit babies needs us consciously to create into conception, a trusting pregnancy, and have freedom to birth and parent from innate wisdom. This is Spirit Baby Radio. Welcome to episode 176, October 13th, 2023. The ways of the new Earth child, raising a conscious humanity. What is going on? What will become of us in the times of expansion? How do you stay authentic and fearless? Are we psychically open and mature enough to shift? What are new Earth children here to teach us? And as always, welcome, welcome. I feel like it's been quite some time. I've had so many amazing guests coming and onto Spirit Baby Radio, and some even more amazing people are going to join. I'm going to keep a little secret. I think some of it's leaking out because I can't keep my mouth closed. And Spirit Baby Radio has just been ongoing for so many years and so much continuous change and shifting. And I'm so in my heart welcoming any of the new energies that are coming through. Yes, that will mean it can be definitely challenging times as well, but I'm here. I feel like Spirit Baby Radio will keep going as long as the energies are going with it, and I'm here to speak. And of course, I'm clearing my throat without losing my voice. It feels like my voice is escaping me over these past weeks. Deep hibernation, deep shifting of change. But we are here now, and I want to explore and expand into new Earth Children consciousness. And I do have to put a shout out to October 13th, Friday the 13th. I know that, in my part of the world, I should say, it is more of a horror day. It's not a very positive. It has a lot of different meanings, of course. I was just looking at a post by a sacred womb healer who talked about the 13 of cycles and the moon space and menstruation. And I'm going, oh, that's a beautiful perspective. I don't know the much of history, but there's such a negative connection to Friday the 13th. I think of like Camp Crystal Lake and Jason with his hockey mask. And so not to get caught up in superstition. Superstition is a man-made belief. Remember that. Anything that we create, we can be a part of. Even dark forces, light forces, we have choices of where our energy wants to shift and where our consciousness wants to land. And so I'm going to share with you a piece of the book that I'm writing about the new era of Spirit Baby communication. And what does that mean? What is, Spirit Baby communication for the new generations of babies, even we can say. There's always a generation, right? And I have here, I'm going to read a little bit of just a little paragraph and just my list. I have a list, yes. What is the new Earth child about? What is this list? So here we go. I'm redefining Spirit Baby communication, or our children of communication, who are and will be the new Earth children of the new Earth. The new Earth child is not like children of the past. These children are meant to change our world through their own spirit coming into creation and being a part of this time and future. Here's how I define a new Earth child. Maybe I should even define I don't even know if I want to go down that conversation. What is new Earth? There's so much happening, right, in behind the scenes. We don't have to know everything. There's so many different energetic forces in play. And it's not just about they or them versus us and that. It's not like that. There are other multidimensional beings that we are in love collaboration with, and we are in curiosity with. It's kind of like the Earth isn't the only Earth that has consciousness, I would say. there are other things happening. And so in those other spaces, you get to sit and bring that energy into your heart. And you get to see and witness in your own telepathic space, in your own spark space, what that means. I'm not trying to be cryptic here. Like, what is she trying to say? I'm not filling your minds with information around multidimensional forces and energy. I want you to discern and connect with what is calling you. That feels the most important. Like, what is calling you? We are electromagnetic beings. We are energy. We have thinking spaces that are more than that. We have a frequency of love that's very powerful. And so we are a community, a world community, and we affect each other on a deep conscious level. This is why empath people have a very hard time, or what we call as empaths, have a very hard time, because you feel the collective in a deep way. Even in your own little home, doing your mantra, sitting by the window, you may feel the pulse of humanity all around you. And you may not know what that is. You may have different feelings and emotions, and things come up. And it's so easy. We blame our past. We blame the future. We blame our neighbor. We blame our family member. blame is a real thing. And yet really the truth is probably we don't know what we want to name these things when we have energies move through us. But gosh, I hate that I have to keep coughing here, but I guess that's how it's going to go. And so you get to be curious with it all. How about that? That's my best advice, is to be curious, be an evolving being as you are, and see where it takes you. And so how I define the new earth child, I have bullet points here. The new earth child is on a personal mission with their own agenda. What does that even mean? On a personal mission with their own agenda. It's not your agenda. I feel like the children of the 1950s, well, maybe not 1950s, but children of many, many moons ago were told, maybe even the 90s, like, you're going to be going to college, you're going to get this job, you're going to get this house with a little puppy in a backyard. And that is just a fantasy, a belief system that's created into consciousness through experience. And people are very infectious, and not the good infectious either. Sometimes the good infectious. The good infectious is love. And so you're in conception, maybe you're in pregnancy, maybe you're healing through loss. What is the personal mission and their own agenda? Even if you're really questioning, okay, you're in conception, you're going, oh my gosh, I suck at this conception thing. How do I make it work? Some of you may feel that authentically, and other of you are like just showing up and going, I'm here to receive. I'm bowing down to be of sacred service to this new level of consciousness. And then how do you get out of the way? It doesn't mean you can't buy cute little toys and little bows and paint a room. I'm not saying that. But really digging deep in and sitting with the energy of your own heart, especially if you're in a struggle with conception, and then really looking at that connection with spirit baby being, whether it's your first baby, second, third, fourth, and really connecting with what is this own spiritual journey of this being. And I want you, even you can play around with that energy, even if you feel like, well, maybe I'm making it up, or maybe it's a fantasy. Use your imagination and connect with your child, and know that their personal mission is their own, and you may not know what that is. And so let's say you're in pregnancy, you may feel a lot of energy. And if you come to me lately, in the past months, it's been very profound in pregnancy energy, because these spirit baby beings are sharing things that I have never been able to fully receive. It's beyond the ego. It's, being memory changers, timeline shifters, being guardians to other energies to evolve. It's like, it's very deep missions. And I feel very honored to sit in spaces to see the truth of that, because it's more than just what we think it is. It's more. And you don't sometimes have to know the more, but I see the more, and I'm opening because I want to bring that energy forward into conversation, so then we can begin more to shift and change consciousness, which is everybody's mission at this point, right? We can go into a negative timeline or a highly positive timeline. It's all dependent on the collective. Oh, that sounds like so much work, right? Come on, people. I know this is why people get very frustrated and they get very angry and they get very intense, because sometimes we have to throw into the fire of life, we have to throw more wood and it gets out of control. And so it's a balance. It's fascinating because I see a lot of these very aggressive, anger provoking women that are trying to get things, shattered, trying to get things restructured. And so knowing that your baby being is on a personal mission, and I didn't even talk about birth loss, miscarriage, stillbirth, infancy, loss, sometimes weeks, months later. The world is full of risks when it comes to once a baby being is on the outside, not knowing, and you have to let go to this atmosphere, to in between worlds of energy. It's very different to have a loss when maybe it's early loss. There's a different energetic structure put into place in the body of the being. And then the later losses are very different because there's something about moving into the physical body of this atmosphere with life. And those babies and those, souls do have an agenda. Gosh, I know people hate the word agenda. I don't know. Is agenda even the right word to use? How about a mission that, your child, let's say you've had a really traumatic, and all birth loss is traumatic. Your child is not here. Your heart has changed. And what are you doing with that energy? I mean, that's ultimately it. It doesn't mean you're going to be in the bottom of the dark pit. You will be in the bottom of the dark pit. That's just a part of the initiation of being in a human body and having love and emotion. But then there's something that has to shift and transform and be a part of between two worlds of energy. And this is why I have really connected with what I call as the children of light. Your child, if you've had a loss, is light. They're a light body. They exist. And it's up to you to see how you want that relationship to move. You can completely ignore it and pretend it's not there. That's your right. Or you can hear the signs, symbols, and messages and move forward with it and see where it takes you. There's no rules to where it takes you. And so there's personal soul spirit missions that we cannot control, that we have to let go and surrender. Our children are not ours. We do not own our children. Our children are more than us. Our children are one of many lives to share and other realities. And so make the best of the journey, make it beautiful, make it gorgeous, make it evolving. What I mean by that is don't spend time in bullshit and drama and control. And if you are in those places too much, you have too much trauma that you're worshiping, time to shift it out. A new earth child is karma free. Yes, that is right. Freedom to be. Oh, this is a really triggering one for a lot of people. What do you mean, Kelly? Aren't we all just here doing our karma, our dharma? And there are a lot of old philosophies and belief systems, and you can tap into any one you want. And so being karma free has a lot to do with, really letting that energy be there, letting it be a part of you. And so, oh, look, my little ones come in. What do you want to tell me? All right, go get some coconut water. This is like, talk about live Spirit Baby Radio today. I'm not editing this out at all. And so, yes, karma free. Yes, that is right. Freedom to be. I'm going to let that sit and soak with people. There's so much more to go into in that. But imagine a person, a spirit, a soul coming into this world without having to repent or to make space for the past errors and ways, right? That's what it feels like when we go into karma. It's like, what am I doing? Yes, we're here. Many of us are changing lineage, making space to see what if your child could come through with a different timeline and a different purity and to be karma free. A new earth child is to embody pure love. To embody pure love. What does that even mean? I mean, we can think of love in a very fluff way, like I love you, love is everything, but love like as an energy force that we could name to give substance to something that maybe doesn't even have any words. And imagine, we see baby beings, they do embody love no matter who or where they are. We come in to such sacred spaces, and then the world, and then the next level of energy around that changes everything, right? Because there are children that are born into really bad situations and circumstances, and yet many of them do thrive, and some of them do not thrive. A new earth child is a frequency that vibrates purity, just like love, purity, remembering that the frequency is you. You are the frequency. And when I look at the energy of frequency, to me, it's very hard, I feel like, to give it words and articulation in a really solid way, because frequency just is. It's just there. It's the spark. I like to look at it as it's the sound that you emanate. It is where you go into places. Take a moment and just think about your energy. When you go into environments, whether it's nature, whether it's people, what changes around you? What vibration do you give off? Is it a low frequency sound pitch? Is it a high frequency sound pitch? And just be in observation with your relationships. What is in attraction with your frequency? And that is the best way to kind of see. And you can go deeper into that, of course. And I love this, vibrating in purity. Where's the purest place? It makes me think of like my own personal frequency. I know that I'm the caretaker and the healer. And maybe many of you feel that way. And you know it because all the time there's things happening where you're supporting the healing. Even you may be at the grocery store or a phone call, or people just, are gravitating towards it because that's the energy you put out. You're not saying any words. You're literally creating a signal, and other people hear that signal. And, or you can even say, I know that when I go hiking by myself, especially, I always see animals, and big animals too, not just small ones. When I go with a lot of people, I don't see them because I think we're so loud in a group. But by myself, I've recently in the past month seen a lot of bobcats, and they're so quiet. I love the feline energy. I do have cats now. And I noticed that I will turn in their direction, even if I hear nothing. And so I know energy attracts energy. Like at times I do know I sense something is around. And other times I'm just in my own hypnotic space. And then I just turn and I'm like, oh, look, there's a beautiful bobcat. So frequency that vibrates in purity. A newer earth child is an empath in a positive and sensitive, trauma-free way. I love this. Okay, so what does that mean? Empath is a positive and sensitive, trauma-free way. There's this kind of term about empaths going around in more of a holistic, psychological, spiritual, new age spaces, saying that if you're an empath, it's because you have trauma and you've had to watch or track your environment. And I'm not going to say that's not true. That definitely can be true. If you grew up in trauma, through birth trauma, childhood trauma, you probably are reading the energy more deeper, but that's not everybody. Because I know people that have some severe traumas, they don't know how to read the environment, and they can be empathic, but they're also really not intuitive. And so intuition and empath don't need to always be hand in hand, and that it's a given. And so the empath in a positive way, that some children will come through trauma, but I do feel like new earth children are going to be able to move through it very fast. I'm not like a lot of us that were holding on to the layers. And that's even, we can get in the karma conversation. There's no need. And we as adults, by the way, we get to elevate through past traumas too, and become more sensitive to life in a more collective heart purity way without feeling attached to all the past traumas. And so imagine that, an empath that's sensitive and trauma-free. So we can have sensitive, empathic children coming in, but they can also pick up their mom's and dad's energy. Again, observation of balance. What does that mean? And how do we, mostly, how do you then hold and love that sensitive energy without infiltrating too much of the environmental drama? A new earth child is an electromagnetic disruptor to change matter. Oh boy, that sounds such like big words. An electromagnetic disruptor to change matter. Everybody has electromagnetic energy, right? And it's all around us. It's through buildings, devices, electronics, trees. Everything has a pulse of energy, we can say. And I do feel like some of these children are going to disrupt the channels of that energy, and they can change the cellular body through their frequency and tone of who they are. And that means, I know people are scared of 5G, but what if some people born don't have any effect to it? They're not in that frequency. They're going to be okay. A new earth child is deep-minded with a heart capacity that is limitless. I love that. Deep-minded. Just we see these children that say really deep stuff, and it's like, what is that? Wow, okay. And I've met many children throughout the years that were like that, and I'm just like, oh man, what is that? It's pretty impressive. And then I love this, the heart capacity that is limitless. Again, being a channel of energy through the heart, not absorbing through the heart. That's very different. It's more of having this window between worlds of energy that's just moves through. The heart capacity is limitless. A new earth child is a natural intuitive and psychic in a matter-of-fact way. And so a new earth child is, I say natural intuitive. I guess there could be ego intuitive, but that would be fear. But just naturally intuitive, like, okay, here I am, I'm intuitive. And I like the psychic in a matter-of-fact way because I feel like just psychic things come out of their mouth as they get older. And it's not about you punching it away, stuffing it away, or ignoring it. It's just like you may not have any capacity for the way that they do. You just go, oh, tell me more. What's that about? Being open and curious, because your child is here to teach you something. They are the guide, not much as you think you are the guide. You're the guide for all the earth stuff. The earth stuff of feeding and sheltering and creating that, love environment. All the other wisdom and insight and teachings is from them. A new earth child, and so also coming back to intuition, is we don't look at children as being intuitive. It's not a term I hear, and it's something I feel really strong about, is that we have to trust the voice of a child and their own intuition and what they feel and what they're connected with. And sometimes if you are a mother or father that's just not intuitive, or you don't trust it, or your fear is so big, then you're not going to understand and see your child through that way and honor what their connection is. And I can't even tell you, many times I've noticed that my children have collective intuition. And even on like hiking and doing things, and I was kind of like question that. I was like, oh, something feels different here, and I have to listen to it. Even though maybe I have an agenda or I want to do something, I have this plan. And it's a really tricky place because you have to feel it out. Is it intuition? Is it fear? Can I make a choice out of fear? Or are they really saying something? And I don't want to minimize it. That feels really important to me. Even if I may be wrong, even if I may be right, or maybe I'm just not sure. Listening and taking action on the listening. A new earth child is receiving interdimensional truths and light language effortlessly. A new earth child is receiving interdimensional truths. Oh boy, what is she talking about? She's freaking me out now. What is Kelly's language? It's what you think it is. It's information before here. And many people, like myself and many children, receive that. And they are truths. And we get to do what we want with that. Keep it to ourselves, share it in groups, or just sing it to the trees, the wind, the sun, let it go into the earth. And the light language. Many of people know what light language is. I've met many of mothers-to-be who had access to light language more freely and effortlessly. And so children also have remembrance and light language from their past, their future selves, their past selves, getting deep there, and other interdimensional realities that maybe weren't earth realities that they're connected with, right? And so the light language, if you're not familiar with it, it's quite beautiful. And I think it's quite beautiful. And it's very easy to find those that connect and speak that in a magical, beautiful, and, healing way. A new earth child is, the final here, born with remembrance and wisdom to share. Love that. Born with remembrance and wisdom to share. That means many children are born remembering the past, and sometimes it is hard to articulate the details and depths of that past, but it is possible. And children will do it in different ways. Remember that children will also share things through story, through the play of story, we'll say. And I remember many years ago when my internship practicum was in attachment parenting, which is I laugh when I think about it because I never knew this was the work I would be coming into. I was actually kind of scared of children in my 20s, very scared. I think that was my own childhood that was really emerging. And then I remember my husband now was back then, boyfriend, fiance, said, you're gonna work with children someday. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. And so fast forward later, I just fall into the lap of this. I love that. Fall into the lap. It's just there. I don't even remember how it came to be, but I knew in my MFT training, and my clinical psychology, which I'm not MFT licensed, but I went through all the schooling and tried to get the license for a second and realized it wasn't for me. And yeah, I don't know how I dislike this attachment parenting. I went from the West Side, which is very affluent, kind of more wealthy families. And then I went into South Central, which was teen mothers, and, attachment, and very different environments, but not that different in the sense of that everybody's trying to mother their children in the quote unquote proper way. And I remember that the children were, first of all, very telepathic, and I was not shy to know that, but it wasn't a language I was allowed to use with psychoanalysts. So I said it in ways that wasn't too revealing, but it was also very healing because we were able to have conversations that actually made a difference. Like I was able to actually make a difference with the way I sat with the children, and then the way they spoke to me and came into play. And I remember that some of the interns struggled with that. They couldn't get the children to play with them because that's what they were doing wrong. They were trying to get the children to do something. I was just playing next to them and just being curious and aware of my energy and what am I putting out. Remember, we are frequencies. We are pinging out something. And so in that attachment parenting space, I learned a lot, and it was really great. And I was felt very new at it. I felt very scared. I also know, again, that children speak through the language of play. And if you can just be open and see it and connect with it, that your child has remembrance and certain wisdoms, and you get to, again, either shut it down, get busy in the world, and pretend that only thing that exists is dishes, TV, and yelling at your kid to do homework. That is your reality if you want that to be, because that is what I see a lot. Or you get to shift in and be in remembrance with your child and the wisdom all the time. I'm not going to say you can't, get caught up in the dishes and the TV and the yelling about brushing teeth and brushing hair and bedtime. But what is that? What is the urgency to go into those spaces and make those the power spaces over the interdimensional remembrance, the light language, and the other wisdom that we are really here embodying in this time, not just the earth out our windows, but we are so much more, and our children are more. And so the new earth child this is my list. The list may change. We'll see when these words can get out more powerfully, collectively. I'm sure that timing, I feel like it's coming very soon, not to tease anybody. You'll hear and know more about it, and ways that we continue to raise our children. Even now, let's say, when I think of new earth children, I want to say it's children born in 2000 on. But I feel like intermixed in that there's other different energies of children. I remember in pregnancy, I heard this energy with my son called the opalescent children. And I'm like, what is the opal child, the opal children? And there could be information. Now, I did find one information. It was kind of intense. I was like, oh, is this us? Is this me? What is this? I don't know what this is. And so I'm never getting too attached to different philosophies or energies of, we hear many things about different realms of consciousness in children, And it's I don't know, I feel like it's a changing energy, because if you're evolving in your frequency, you may not feel connected to those things anymore, or your frequency, yeah, is just not available. Without comparing it, we're not going to say, well, it's not available because you can't see it because you're shut down, which can be a truth also. Yeah, people are shut down, of course, not to minimize that. But what are you doing now in your conception or pregnancy or healing through loss? What are you doing now to raise the consciousness of humanity just by being who you are, being in your heart, and remembering that conception begins in the heart space? And I can't even begin to speak about that so much over these past years, right? If you've listened to Spirit Baby Radio. And one of the things that comes up is I've noticed there's almost like this beautiful light. It's such a deep light structure, a really sacred pattern of energy that moves into the heart space in conception. And I call it cracks of light into the sacral. Because, I'm trying to share the way I perceive things. And that's this whole other language. And I'm not going to be like bullshitty, like a new age, like medium psychic, like just trying to sugarcoat everything and make it seem magical. There are hard things to explain. And this is why I opened up the Spirit Baby Academy for students to talk about the bullshit. Well, not just that, just to talk about our own abilities and our experiences with Spirit Baby in our own profession, and ways to elevate that and the conversation, and how to be really honest in what you're doing and to show up for others in that way with Spirit Baby awareness and energy. And so the Spirit Baby Academy is going on right now. Sorry, you cannot join it. You can join it if you want to next year in 2024. And you can find that at spiritbabyacademy.com. And what other upcomings do I have? Now I'm just sharing about the school. Right now in the middle of co-creation, not available to next year. It's amazing, incredible. If you are a quantum fertile being and you want to get with Spirit Baby communication and you want to heal layers, I mean, talk about frequency in that space. There are women that actually do become pregnant in the middle. In this year, I noticed. Sometimes right after, or sometimes they retake it and they're just staying with that beautiful energy and listening and expanding. There are going to be some drop-in. I'm going to do some drop-in workshops for the end of the year. December feels so close. It's coming up soon. And as well as membership, the Spirit Baby Collective. If you want everything with Spirit Baby goodness, connections, weekly Spirit Baby Oracle messages just for you, alive every month just for you and the small group, come. It is such an affordable drop-in membership space. Be in our energy, be with us, be in that building of conception into pregnancy. And that is also, you can find that at spiritbabymedium.com or newearthchildren.com. That is the space you want to visit. There's my little ad. Call that my ad. And so, as I said, the New Earth Child, the time of expansion, and how do you keep staying authentic and fearless? Oh, fearless is hard, but I hold that beautiful love intention for wherever you are on your journey, and you are psychically open. And I wrote, I said, are you mature enough to shift? Are we mature enough? I hope we are. And how you are opening, continuing to just be present to what serves, your energy and your family, like your own personal mission. And your mission is motherhood. You are here, you are connected with Spirit Baby. And so many women feel like, well, maybe there's no baby. Then why are you even feeling the call if there's no baby? So get out of your own way. Really be in what the New Age child is about, the purity of your heart, the presence of who you are, the building that Spirit Baby communication, love, oneness together. And if you are not just you as this only being, but if you are on this journey in partnership, bringing all those energies together. And so I will leave you with all that New Earth Children frequency. We are in this frequency together. And I want to thank you for joining episode 176, The Ways of the New Earth Child, Raising a Conscious Humanity. I'm going to end this properly. Thank you for joining Spirit Baby Radio with your host, me, Kelly. Please join my community and stay in touch with monthly energy rants, Spirit Baby poetry, and get access to Spirit Baby Communication 101 with tips and practices at my newsletter at newearthchildren.com. Join me on Instagram with lives at Spirit Baby Medium, and join the Mighty Networks, the Spirit Baby Collective membership, and a free membership, Motherhood to Mediumship for Birth Loss. Remember, you are the heart that holds communication, and it is your time to connect. Come share in the great shift of your mind and the true spirit of your heart. Your Spirit Baby says hello.